What up guys, today we're going to be talking about how powerful is a supernova. Now, this is a little bit different than the videos that I have been making recently. This is more of a type of video that I made when I first started this channel, where I talk about different topics and different things that, connected to these versus debates and these power scaling debates itself in general. And they had something to do with these debates, but not directly. Now I'm mostly talking about the characters themselves, like how powerful these characters, what they're capable of, what their feats are, how strong they are, how strong is their universe. But I used to make videos talking about subjects around that, but not directly that, like how fast is lightning, how powerful is the birth of the universe, or how does the Big Bang work, and my feelings on the tiering system of like power scaling usually. And those had something to do with power scaling, but not directly power scaling itself. And like when I was talking about how fast lightning is, the reason why I made that video was due to the fact that we see a lot of times in scaling characters being able to move faster than lightning or dodge lightning, and people's argument is they can dodge lightning or electricity. That means that they're faster than the speed of light or whatever. And sometimes there was some misinformation there and a little bit of confusion. So I made that video just to explain specifically how fast it is, how how it works, how it travels, because there's different stats and statistics you can get from how lightning works. But usually we see that all the time in fiction and these debates, because when you're power scaling these characters, you're seeing some common feats, like characters moving faster than the speed of light, characters moving faster than lightning, and we get assumptions on how powerful they are from that. And one of these feats that we see quite a bit is characters having the power to destroy a planet, or destroy a star, or being able to handle a supernova or whatever. And when we get this, we can upscale them from these things like supernovas that are real, or destroying a planet and stuff like that. And I wanted to make this video because there are certain characters that have supernova feats, or something that's close to a supernova level feat, and a lot of times they get used in these debates about how powerful these characters are and what they're capable of. But I don't feel like a lot of people go really in depth into understanding how powerful or how impressive this is. So in this video specifically, I'm going to be using for the scaling, and the mathematics that I'm using, because you have different forms that you can use to scale. But for this one, I'm going to use specifically megatons. I know some people might use either newtons or joules, or these other forms of formulas or calculation, but I feel like those other ones are a lot more complex, and the numbers in there are so insignificantly small that when a explosion of decent magnitude, or releasing an amount of power that's decent, the amount of joules or newtons that will be accompanied to it would be astronomically high. So if there's like an explosion that destroys a building, it's going to be like quite a bit of joules, and I felt like that's going to be a little too much. So I think megatons are better because it downsizes the numbers and doesn't make them too ridiculously big, but also because we use these usually when it comes to bigger explosions like nukes. We use megatons for nukes instead of joules. We can use joules and newtons, but it is kind of a little too much, and megatons are easier because it does put in a lot of, it downsizes it, kind of like when it comes to pounds or kilograms. Kilograms is a smaller unit of measurement, whereas pounds, it requires more to get, a bigger number. Whereas kilograms, you can have a small number, which has a bigger value. So that's why I'm using megatons, and we use it for nukes all the time. And normally there are certain levels of destructive power that's nowhere near the level of a nuke, but when it comes to supernovas or destroying planets, they are well beyond nuke level, so it makes sense. Now, the biggest and most powerful nuke that we know of is the Tsar Bomba, which had 50 megatons of TNT that it can release, which is pretty powerful. So how powerful is the supernova compared to the biggest nuke that we've ever had? And a supernova, it says right here, supernovas are the most energetic explosions in nature, equivalent to the power in a 10. And I know they say 1028, but they mean a 10 to the 28 megaton bomb, which is a few octillion nuclear warheads. So it is 10, and whenever you see the ones where it says like 10E, like let's say for this one like 10E28 or 10 and they put like the 28 above it, that basically just means zeros. So if you ever see like the number and then the other number with the E in there, that just basically means that those are how many zeros there are in there. And when we go through, bigger numbers like million, six in what's the thing called? 6 zeros is a million, 9 is a billion, 12 is a trillion, 15 is quadrillion, and 18 is quintillion, and then I'm pretty sure like 21 is sextillion, 24 is septillion, and then I'm pretty sure there's like octillion, whatever. But this is like around 10 octillion tons of TNT, or even more. So that's how powerful it is. Now, how powerful is this compared to the amount of power it would take to destroy the planet? I think this is a great comparison to have, because usually when we talk about like how powerful characters are, usually characters that can destroy planets is very top tier and top level itself. And on top of that, with the the planet stuff, is usually when we're talking about supernovas, the best way to understand how much power that is, even using megatons, it sounds like ridiculous. We don't know how powerful that is. But using Earth, destroying a planet like the Earth as a comparison is perfect. Now, the amount of power it takes to destroy the Earth is 50 quadrillion megatons of TNT, which is pretty high, but definitely not as powerful as a supernova. Now, how powerful is the supernova compared to destroying the Earth itself? And I got this from Quora, which is basically we're just putting up their own calculations, but it has been shown quite a bit that it is around 50 megatons, and we've seen in Goku versus Superman Death Battle, the first one. Death Battle themselves stated that it was around 53. I'm pretty sure it was quadrillion megatons of TNT to 110 quadrillion megatons of TNT. I'm just gonna stick to 50, even though there might be a little bit more numbers in it. It's 50. They stated you need 110 to completely obliterate a planet instead of just destroying the Earth. That isn't true. It's only around 50 quadrillion megatons of TNT. So the way we're gonna be doing this, and I also do want to explain a little bit more. If you guys are wondering how much is megatons of TNT compared to tons in general, 1 megaton is equivalent of 1,000,000 tons. So whenever you hear megaton, it basically means like 1,000,000 tons. So when we hear about a star bomb being 50 megatons of TNT releasing that much energy, that pretty much meant it was releasing 50 million tons of power, was able to extend out. So now that we have how powerful the supernova is, and we have the exact calculations that we're going to use it for it, and how powerful the Earth is, let's check how much power it would take to destroy the said Earth. So let's do this. Let's first put in the supernova right up here. We will put the supernova as the X, so we will do 10 E 28 to the 28, and then we will do how much power it takes to destroy the Earth. So we'll do 5e to the 16, since that will push it over. So we do that, and then we are going to divide the supernova. So the supernova is 10 octillion megatons of TNT, whereas the Earth is 50 quadrillion megatons of TNT. So we're going to divide the 10 octillion by the 50 quadrillion. And how much do we get from that? It shows right here in the results, if you guys can count. So I'm going to point right here. This is 100,000, 100 million, 100 billion, 2 trillion. So it is 2 trillion times more powerful. That is insane. So let's say if a character can destroy the planet, his max output is planet level, and he's fighting against a character, his max strength is supernova level. How much stronger would the character who is a supernova level being be compared to a planet level being? 2 trillion times more powerful. And if a supernova was to detonate, it could destroy the Earth over 2 trillion times, which is insane. That is crazy. That's a crazy calculation. So whenever we hear these characters being supernova level, just know they're ridiculous. They could literally destroy the Earth 2 trillion times over, or take a blast that's 2 trillion times more powerful than a blast it will take to destroy the Earth, which is crazy. Now, let's do some calculations based off of, let's say, for example, Dragon Ball characters, because since I'm a Dragon Ball channel, you guys love my Dragon Ball content, you love the Dragon Ball characters. Let's see how powerful these Dragon Ball characters are equivalent to, a supernova. So the first really impressive feat that we see when it comes to planet level stuff is Frieza. Frieza in his first form was able to destroy planet Vegeta, which has 10 times Earth's gravity, which at the very least would mean the amount of power it takes to it took for him to destroy planet Vegeta was around 10 times that of Earth, which we already know Earth is 50 quadrillion megatons of TNT. So with that, the 10, it will go up to 500 quadrillion megatons of TNT, which is a lot. But remember, that is if you go based off the estimates, the lowest level amount of power it would take to destroy a planet of 10 times Earth's gravity would be 10 times, but it could be more than that. But for, just to argue conservatively, we're going to lowball a lot of these feats. So in his first form, Frieza was able to generate an attack that was equivalent to 500 quadrillion megatons of TNT. So let's do it once again. Let's put the 50, then let's do E, and then let's do 16, and then let's divide it. So that would mean that Frieza's power in his first form compared to a supernova would be, once again, 100,000, 100 million, 200 billion. So that would mean that a supernova is 200 billion times more powerful than first form Frieza. So if first form Frieza was fighting against a character who can take a supernova, they would be 200 billion times stronger, which is still impressive, but it's far less than what, it's far less than just being planet level, like regular just being able to destroy the Earth, because that was 2 trillion. This is 200 billion, which is still a lot, but that's crazy to think. So that was him in his first form. Now let's go to how powerful Frieza was as his what's the thing called in his 100% final form. So now what we are going to do is pretty much just put for X, we're going to do 120 million, his power level 120 million divided by 530,000, which was his max in that form. So it's right here, 120, 1,200, 12,000, 1,120, 1 million, 12 million, 20,000. So I just have to make sure, because sometimes it gets a little confusing with all these zeros. So that's 1,000, 1 million, or no, 100,000, 120 million. So yeah, that's 120 million, and then we divide this by 530,000. So right here, 535,000, 50,000, and then 500,000. So this should be 530,000. So we divide that, and what do we get? 226.4. We've seen, Dragon Ball fans constantly use this scaling, because that is true. It is 226. Frieza in his final form at 100% is 226 times more powerful than first form Frieza, which we've seen quite a bit where people stated that, that Frieza is that much more powerful. So now that we know that in his final form he should be this much more powerful, let's just copy this, and then let's do the 50 quadrillion, or the 500 quadrillion megatons. So let's do the 50, then the E, then we will do 16, and then we will divide this by final form Frieza's power, which should be 226.4 times stronger. So this, we're going to multiply this. As we multiply it, we get so this is how much this is crazy just looking at it. So we did in his final form, since this was how powerful the attack was in his first form, and he gets 226.4 times stronger, that would mean that the amount of power that he was releasing would be around. So what do we get now? This is how much it would be megatons of TNT compared to that. And I'll convert it in a different way too, just so it could be more simpler. So that means that it would be 100,000, million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion. So 113 quintillion, 200 quadrillion megatons of TNT is how much power he can release 100% in his final form. So we get that big astronomical number, and then divide that by, what's the thing called? We're going to get this number, and then we're going to divide. Stop doing that. So this would mean that around this time, so if we were going to go based off a planet level, that means Frieza from his first form to his final form. Let's say Frieza could just destroy the Earth, not a planet 10 times the size of the Earth, but just the Earth. So that is 50 quadrillion megatons of TNT. And then we multiply that by his final form, which is 226.4 times. So we multiply the 50 quadrillion megatons of TNT, and Frieza pretty much, is able to destroy the planet, the Earth, by his final form at 2,264 times over. Because remember, we're supposed to push this by 10 since, he based off of that. Never mind that, forget that. So we have this calculation. This is how much it takes since this is maxed out. That means that by Frieza in his final form, he could destroy a planet the size with 10 times Earth's gravity, 226.4 times over. So now we got that big number. Here we're gonna delete these stuff again. We're gonna put the 10 here, 10E, 28, and then we're gonna put the big number right here. So now we're gonna divide this. So this should be how powerful Frieza's final form is. Because Frieza in his final form, compared to how much he can destroy the Earth, he can destroy the Earth 2,200 and I'm pretty sure it was like 46 times over. That's how many times he could destroy the Earth over. That is really powerful. So when we go off of the megatons of TNT, he would be around 113 quintillion, 200 quadrillion megatons of TNT in his final form, and the amount of times he can destroy the Earth over would be 2,246 times over, or 64 times over. And then if we convert the amount of megatons of TNT in Supernova divided by his, 2,000. So now let's divide it. How much would that be? So that means that 100% final form Frieza would be literally 883,392,226 times weaker than a supernova. So when we go based off of those calculations, we get more of a gist of how powerful it was. So from the feet alone, from let's say first form Frieza's feet alone, he would be around 200 billion times weaker than a supernova. But if we go by his max 100% power form, he would be 883,392,226 times weaker than what's it been called? Than a supernova. Now, some of you guys are gonna say, well, yes, that's just going based off of that calculation of that feat and that, but the Dragon Ball characters can do more than that, because it was stated in the Daizenshuu that a power level of 10,000 can destroy the Earth. Okay, so let's go based off of that now. Let's go based off of Frieza once again, and do Frieza's 120 million power level divided by what's it called? 10,000. So you have the 120 million right here, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million. So we have that, and then we have the 10,000 right here. 100, 1,000, 10,000. Okay. So we're going to divide that now. So 12,000. That means that if we go based off of just the Daizenchu's one where the power level of 10,000 can destroy a planet alone, instead of the feat of him destroying that and going based off of dividing his first form from his final form's power level, we're going to just be doing from the 10,000, which would destroy Earth-sized planet, to that. So that means that if we're going based off of that calculation, the more proper one, that final form Frieza would be actually able to wipe out 12,000 Earths. He would be able to wipe out the Earth 12,000 times. In the original one, it was around 2,264 times he would be able to destroy the Earth, or an Earth of that size. But if we go based off of the even more impressive one with 10,000 based off that, he would be able to destroy even more than that by 12,000. So now since we have the 12,000 planets, 12,000 Earths, once again, we're going to do another calculation since we have this newer one. We're going to do 5e16, and then we're going to have this divided by, or multiplied by 12,000. 12,000. So now we multiply this. This is the number that we get. This is actually how much megatons of TNT he would be able to release in his final form. It would be, once again, 100,000 million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, 600 quintillion megatons of TNT. The original estimate was, I forgot what it was around. It was like around 113, right? It was 113 quintillion megatons of TNT. But in this new one, what the even more impressive is 600 quintillion megatons of TNT. So now we're going to do this. Once again, we're going to go back, and then we're going to go and see, what's it called? We're going to see the supernova is 10 to 28 right here. And then we have this big ass number right here. And we're going to divide it now by the new one with the 10,000. So now after we divide it, how much would Frieza's actual power be? Because there's two calculations. You can go based off of the impressive feat he did in his first form against Planet Vegeta, or based off the Daizenchu explaining the power level 10,000 off that. So now we have around 166,666,666.666 times is a supernova stronger than Final Form Frieza. So even with 100% times Final Form Frieza, a supernova will be over 100 million times more powerful than what he was able to, release. But still really impressive by, Frieza, what he was able to do. He was able to destroy quite a bit. But still, like I said, it's nothing compared to a supernova, so that's how insane it is. So for a character to destroy a supernova, they would pretty much be, they would be over 150 million times more powerful than Frieza. 100% powerful Frieza. They'll be around over 150 million times that. So characters that can survive supernovas, they can tank it or dish out attacks on the level of a supernova, are ridiculously OP. It's just crazy. And I think it's important to talk about this because we see these debates and we hear these topics, we hear these discussions on how powerful this is, this character is this, that, but we don't really know exactly the math of it and how impressive it is. Now, obviously, when we're talking about this, these are fictional universes. They don't have to go exactly with his exact number. Just because a character destroyed a planet at one point does not mean they cannot have a supernova level attack in a short amount of time. Because people say, well, they would have to get this much more powerful. But yes, that is. But if they show a feat on that level, then just accept it that they gain that much insane power, even if it is a little ridiculous. But yeah, 100% Final Form Frieza is 166,666,666 times weaker than a supernova. But still, his final move, even though it's called supernova, it's not on the equivalence of it, is still pretty goddamn powerful, if I'm being honest with you guys. Like, he can, in his final form, 100%, he can generate 600, no, not 600, yeah, 600 100 quintillion megatons of TNT. So he's insanely powerful, but this just shows the astronomical difference between, supernovas and planets and everything else. So if a supernova went off in our solar system, it would wipe out the solar system and majority of like the planets and stuff like that. So it's just crazy how much power we have out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you learned something new. I hope you guys got a better perspective on these power scaling, and I just hope you guys enjoy this. So stay tuned for next time.